everyone, my name is Juliet Ambali and it's such a pleasure to be here today. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. If this is your first time, you're very welcome. However, if this is not your first time, you already know that it means the world to me that you come here time and again to watch my videos. God bless you real good. Alright, so today I have a very important topic for us to reflect upon, for us to talk about. And I believe that after watching this video, if you go back and do some personal assessment as an individual and then as a family, the things that you're going to get from this video will help a great deal in impacting so many things in your lives as a family. And I hope that by the special grace of God, you take at least with you one or two things and run with them. All right. So like you can already tell, the title of the video is The Dangers of Technology and Social Media Within the Home. So when you hear the word danger, you may quickly conclude that this video is going to, say or bastardize entirely technology and social media. That's totally far from it. However, prior to getting into some of these dangers, it's important to state that technology and social media have been very helpful. In fact, they have been very impactful. They have helped a great deal to make things very easy for us as individuals and even within the family. For instance, you agree with me that in the kitchen, where you get to do a lot of manual labor prior to these times, where, for instance, you want to pound pepper, yam, and what have you, you need to use your pestle and your mortar. However, we have things like blender, food processor, and the likes, and those are one of the benefits, or some of the benefits rather, of technology for us within the home. All right, or even on social media. For instance, you are subscribed to this channel, you are watching insightful contents from channels like this, and you are benefiting from them. That's one of the benefits of social media. However, these dangers that I'll be sharing or talking on are some of the subtle things that many of us are oblivious of, that we need to be aware of and be very mindful of, so that even though we're enjoying the benefits of technology and social media, we're not caught up unknowingly with some of these dangers that can be very detrimental to the family life, generally speaking. All right. So the first point that I would like to mention when it comes to the dangers of technology and social media within the home is that it contributes greatly to mismanagement of time. All right. You will agree with me that as interesting as social media is, as technologies like our television and what have you within the home can be, sometimes if one is not mindful, there's every tendency that you may mismanage your time, you may not use your time appropriately, and it may affect many things within the home. All right. So imagine waking up first thing in the morning, and the next thing is you grab up your phone, you go on Instagram to start scrolling mindlessly, scrolling on, seeing one very interesting content, followed by the next interesting content, and what have you. And then before you know it, hours have gone and you haven't really done anything productive as such. All right. It's going to affect not just you, it will affect your mood, it will affect your person. You sometimes may even feel guilty that you have spent hours like that on ending doing nothing but scrolling through social media in that time that you have woken up. All right. So, not to say that social media is bad or you cannot be on Instagram or be on TikTok and what have you, and the different apps that are available. Not to say that, but it's very important that rather than these things control how you use them, be mindful as to how you are making use of them. Create plans, create time plans rather for yourself for when you should be doing other important and productive things in your life, and then time for when you should be on social media, all right, or when you should be doing one or two things on social media. There are some people that thankfully can, multitask, do so many other things, and maybe once in a while check their social media in case they have important notifications like messages and what have you. That's fine. However, if you realize that you have more often than not consumed with a lot of social media engagement, you're just always there in every post, commenting, doing what have you, and all that. And you can see that this thing is affecting your family. See how best rather it is that you can limit the way you are making use of these things. All right. It's very important that you are mindful of this so that it does not affect your family relationship, generally speaking. The second point that I would like to mention, or another key area that affects the home when it comes to technology and social media and the likes, is the kind of movies that are aired within the home. It's very important that we are very mindful to censor the kind of things that air within our homes. Back in the day, in the church that I attend, television was such a thing. In fact, there's an article somewhere that talks about the whole television issue and people watching TV and what have you. By the way, I attend the Apostolic Faith Church, all right, the Apostolic Faith or Apostolic Faith Church. And looking back now, somewhat, I can understand um, their concerns. I can understand why they were objecting to the use of television. Okay. Now today we cannot do away with things like televisions, phones, and what have you. However, we need to be very mindful to censor the things that are airing within our homes, especially if you have children, little children, teenagers, and what have you. It's very important, but we're very, very mindful. Okay. Sometimes we put on cable channels and leave them there unmonitored, and you have little children watching so many things. And so many of these things that are being watched are things that are against the will of God. Sometimes even as adults, we're watching these things and you find out that you are somewhat validating some of these things, some of these subtle things that are against the will of God. Okay. For instance, you're watching a movie where there's a man who is not getting so much attention from his wife. In the movie portrays that this man is such a loving man, so kind, and what have you. And then maybe his wife is so caught up with her work and doesn't have time for the home. And then what is the solution that they bring for you in such movies? You find out that he meets this other lady, or maybe it's the house help within the home, who is very homely and what have you. And then they fall in love. And then because the way this way this movie is portrayed, that house help or that other woman that he meets is really kind, and then you find out that you are being empathetic towards this really kind house help and this man that is so loving but has this wife that is the villain, and then you are empathizing with these other two people. Okay, this thing just has a way of playing with your mind, that you're empathizing with these other two people who are literally committing adultery. Okay, so sometimes some of these things that are aired, they are endorsing the things that are against the will of God. And so it's very important that we are mindful to censor the things that air within our home, so that they not just only not pollute the minds of the children within the home, even for us as adults. Okay, you find out that watching these kind of things can lead to lukewarmness, can lead to numbness of conscience of what is right from what is wrong. So you're just saying, oh, you just find out that you're pitying some of these characters that are portraying the things that are against the will of God. Okay? Or sometimes a movie that portrays people going to a place, stealing, taking away from the rich so that they can better the people who are not doing so well. And then because of how they are bettering the people who are not doing so well, we become empathetic to those people, even though they are doing something that is against the will of God. All right, so it's very important that we are mindful the kind of movies that we watch within our home spaces, so that they don't infiltrate the atmosphere of our homes and affect us as families. All right. Also, you find out that sometimes some of these movies they lead to addictions. So you find out that from a very very young age, you have children who are already addicted to watching movies that are X-rated, I think that's what it's called, or movies that are highly sensual, movies that are quote unquote like pornography and what have you. And so they begin to have that desire and quest to get more of those things. And so that's what leads them to going into pornographic sites and then getting engaged deeply and then addicted, caught up with pornography or even with drugs, drug abuse, right? Some of these things are learned from the things that are aired on TV. So it's very important that we're very careful. Also, you find out that one of the dangers of social media, technology, generally speaking, within the home is that it does not, in many ways, bring about a binding or unifying force for the members of the family. So you find out that more often than not, because the things that are airing or the things that are showing or the usage of phones somewhat leads to different forms of separations. So the children are in front of the TV, father is on his own phone, mother is on her own phone, everybody's engaged, caught up doing one thing or the other. So there's no much time to be intentional about spending this resource of precious time that we have with each other. All right. So it's very important that we are mindful to not get caught up in some of these dangers and so that they don't affect us in a very negative way. And then lastly, let me now focus on technology. Yes, like I already mentioned, technology is great. It's been doing so many wonderful things for us. However, we need to be mindful so that we don't um, allow our children miss out on being responsible. You know, back in the day when there's not much of all these things, children were active in one form or the other in engaging in the things that pertain to the home. And so today, even though yes, there's the washing machine and that helps to wash clothes, you can still assign chores because there's that temptation to say, okay, since the washing machine is there, let me just go and load it up myself and do all of that and wash and what have you and do all the drying myself. You may not want to make them participate in some of these house responsibilities and chores. However, to save time, but it's important that you see that you are still intentional about engaging them in helping you do age appropriate chores, regardless of the many benefits of technology that are present within the home. All right. So it's very important that we are really mindful of all of these things. And I hope that I know there are so many other dangers out there around these things, but some of these are some of the things that came to mind and I thought to share. And I hope that you have learned at least one thing or another from this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate you. And until next time, do stay blessed, all right? And stay aware, stay conscious, stay mindful, stay consecrated, be careful not to let these things leave you lukewarm and forget the most important thing. Be careful not to let these things become idols in one form or the other, where we get to replace them with God. Okay? I will replace God rather with them. Let's be careful. Even the good things that these things do, let's be careful not to get so caught up with them, so addicted to them that we are not productive in some other things that are very important in our lives too. All right. So thank you so much once again for watching. I appreciate you greatly. Do well to share, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching so that it helps with the algorithm and what have you. Thank you so much. Until next time, do stay blessed. Bye. Okay. All right, let's see. I believe this is it. Let's get ready. One, two, go.